so that was great then, Dave. A little bit of old school. Saw some of Dave's father involved in some of his driving back in the day. Good. If you actually see Dave drive, it's very similar nowadays. You know what I mean? His son's about to start driving. Hopefully, he's a bit more sensible behind.
And we got to see Dave park his car.
Exactly, Shep. He does park his car like that. The worst place to park in a supermarket is next to Dave, whether you know about it or not. So perfect then. So that was transition and energy. So let's move to my favorite part of the show, guys. Chewing the cud. Chewing the cud. Look at me with my little controls. So what we're going to talk about this week in chewing the cud, I think you were talking about space travel, Dave.
We're back in the news with Venus this week. So NASA it was going over their project listings for the coming year, and Venus is now taking the lead. So we haven't been there in a long time. But there are a couple of projects that got pushed to the front of the line. There was an article not too long back in one of the science magazines. I wish I had more information on it, but there was some interesting things that were detected in the atmosphere of Venus. So although Venus itself is very hot, it's like 900 degrees Fahrenheit on the surface. You can melt lead. Further up in the atmosphere, it's more temperate, and the temperatures aren't so bad. And they think that they detected these components, these chemical components that seem to indicate that there may be something biological happening in the atmosphere, but it's not certain. So they're going to go and take another look. So there are two missions that were approved. One of them is going to be a mapping mission, so it'll be orbiting and mapping the surface of Venus. And then the other one's actually going to drop on a parachute and take about an hour to descend to the planet's surface. But it's going to be taking measurements all the way down as it goes through the atmosphere. I don't think it's actually going to, take any pictures once it lands or anything. They're just going to, the primary reason for the mission is to get all of those atmospheric samples and that data. So it's pretty interesting to get back to Venus. It's, it's closer to us than Mars. And it's more like Earth than Mars is. But in terms of composition and density and whatnot, but we took very, very different paths, environmentally speaking. So it's really inhospitable. And we'd like to find out how it got that way. So.
Well, if you look at the granulus of how the solar interaction between the planets are and everything, that every 100,000 years, the sun's output kicks up 1%. So in effect, in our timeline in 1 billion years, calculations are correct. It will make the Earth uninhabitable in 1 billion years. Exactly.
Pack your bags.
Right, exactly, Dave. It's about time for us to announce our space mission ourselves. So we'll start working on that. So have we got any videos, Dave, that we can show?
So DAVINCI and VERITAS. So DAVINCI will be the module that drops through the atmosphere. VERITAS will map.
Don't think it looks like that last picture, Dave. Here's what I've got surface of Venus.
Yeah, that was years ago, but now it's just like this. It's all baked. There's there's nothing liquid on the surface.
Right, here, I'll show you what I think Venus looks like. Let's see. I'll get into that computer game.
It is something to think about. Every 100 million years, the sun's output gets 1% hotter. It is really interesting.
Right. Here's what Venus they think Venus looks like. Doesn't really look much like Earth there, does it? Looks like somewhere Superman used to live, Let's base it. This is like 2033 in the Earth after global warming.
That might be.
So what planet are we looking at right now then, Dave? Venus?
That's Venus.
They recently even found rainbows on Mars too. So in effect, it shows there is premonition of water quite substantially there.
Yeah, so it's Mercury, Venus. What's Mercury look like, Dave?
Oh, that's also baked. It's much tinier.
So
It's
Mercury,
similar
Venus,
to Earth's moon. The ecology of Mercury is very similar to our moon. The geology and what it is.
you got
Cool.
Earth, you got Mars, and then Saturn, Uranus. We'll always like that name. Don't know
The
what that's
moon
got to do with
Titan of Saturn is probably one of the most interesting on
Probe
Titan.
on
Yeah,
Titan.
So
And,
where is
and
Titan?
it's just miles thick of ice. The moon Europa.
So let's start your space mission, Dave. Spaceman Dave.
So
You'll be first up at Zion Mars.
here's,
Me and
here's
Shep will be
Saturn.
going in Zion 2. You'll be going up with my turtle in Zion 1. You and Chewbacca, you know, in case something goes wrong. You know, well, Chewbacca can live through anything, so you could just leave him there and see how he gets on.
How about Yoda?
Yeah, what's happening here then, Dave? Quickly.
So this is what Huygens probe saw. This is its approach to Titan. So it's getting closer. That's why it looks like it's getting bigger. And there's Saturn in the background. And so it came in and essentially landed on Titan. And
nice.
We took video all the way down. So this is obviously sped up quite a bit. So you got a bit of a cloud layer that you're coming through. But when you think about it, we pre-programmed this thing. We sent it up. It took years to get there. And we were able to land it on a moon of Saturn. And it's just phenomenal. So you can start to see some of the landscape. There are mountains.
Oh, wow.
And there are lakes there, but they're not lakes of water. They're lakes of methane.
Methane.
Yeah, so explain to people how it's a lake of methane.
Well, it's like Earth was in its very early stages.
2.73 billion years ago.
It is still developing. There's still a lot of chemistry happening. It's a very active moon.
Extremely.
And so we sent the probe there to find out more about, how our history a little bit, to kind of see it in action. And I don't know how long it stayed active for a little while it was on the surface. Took some pictures while it was there. But here's the landing, and then they're just re-showing you because they had a couple of different cameras on the thing coming down. But just a fascinating mission.
Oh, it is extremely.
So Al, what do you think in terms of exploring? Think we'll get some people on Mars in the next 10, 15 years?
I don't know. Elon Musk will be surprised you, I think,
I think he's saying, 2030, 2035 or something?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Just to be flying off in the first spaceship himself, Yeah. Leaving the rest of us behind.
He's pretty frank about it. He's said that, the first people that go are probably going to, there are going to be some people that die on that first trip.
Yeah, sure. So we'll definitely say Zion Mars 1, you'll be going in that. Me and Shep will probably be Zion Mars 6, Shep. We'll wait.
I like it.
Shep and I'll go, we'll be Zion Mars 6. We'll be heading over there,
Right.
So just make a big space token, everybody.
I'll set up shop and get things ready for you.
Get the podcast ready.
We can make the Olympus Mons token. I like that too.
Perfect.
Valley Marineris token as well.
But yeah, that just the space travel's now it's coming back again, Dave. In the 60s and 70s, it was like that's what it was. We're all into cowboys back in the 40s and 50s, 60s space travel, 60s and 70s.
It's the competition. It's the competition. China's going to be there first if we don't, get our
exactly.
Russia as well, India.
Russia.